Day Junior Scientists. Today, we will continue our journey to the fantastic and wonderful world of science. We will learn about temperature, heat, and the mechanisms of heat transfer. Are you ready? Before proceeding, let us recall the concepts that we have learned from last week's lesson. Answer the questions by typing in your answer in the chat box together with your name, grade, section, and name of your science teacher. Which electromagnetic wave is visible to the human eye? A. Ultraviolet, B. X-ray, C. Gamma rays, D. Visible light.
The correct answer is letter D, visible light.
Which color of the visible spectrum has the longest wavelength and the lowest frequency? A. Red, B. Blue, C. Violet, D. Green.
The correct answer is letter A, red.
Which of the following light colors has the highest energy and frequency? A. Red, B. Yellow, C. Green, D. Violet.
The correct answer is D, violet.
Which of the following statements explains why the color of these objects is red? A. The color that we see is the color that is absorbed. B. The color that we see is the color that is reflected. Letter C. The color that we see is the wavelength that is transmitted. Letter D. All of these.
The correct answer is letter B, the color that we see is the wavelength that is reflected.
Which of the following statements explain why a white light passing through a red filter appears to be red? A. The color that we see is the wavelength that is absorbed. B. The color that we see is the wavelength that is reflected. Letter C. The color that we see is the wavelength that is transmitted. Letter D. All of these.
The correct answer is letter C, the color that we see is the wavelength that is transmitted.
At the end of the lesson, we are tasked to number 1, differentiate heat and temperature. Number 2, explain how energy flows in the form of heat. Number 3, investigate what happens to an object when heat is added or released. And number 4, infer cases of conduction, convection, and radiation. Let us test your background knowledge of the topic. Get a pen and paper and answer the pre-test. Which of the following can be measured using a thermometer? A. Radiation, B. Heat, C. Temperature, D. All of this.
The correct answer is letter C, temperature.
What is the direction of heat transfer? A. From hot to cold, B. From cold to hot, C. From solid to liquid, D. From gas to solid.
The correct answer is letter A, from hot to cold.
Heat is a transfer of mass in objects with different temperatures. A. Energy, B. Atoms, C. Molecules, D. Cells.
The correct answer is letter A, energy.
Which of the following is an example of heat transfer through conduction? A. Turning on the air conditioner. B. Flying a hot air balloon. C. Heating a metal spoon in a boiling water. D. Heating food using infrared.
The correct answer is letter C, heating metal spoon in a boiling water.
As more heat is added to tap water, its temperature A. increases, B. decreases, C. stays the same, D. none of this.
The correct answer is letter A, increases.
In everyday use, temperature is the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. It is measured by a device called thermometer. The most common temperature scales are Celsius scale, Fahrenheit scale, and Kelvin scale. The Celsius scale is named after Antar Celsius and denoted using this symbol. It is the temperature scale used in the Philippines and in most countries. In this scale, 0 is the freezing temperature of water, while 100 is the boiling temperature. There are 100 subdivisions, that's why it is formally called the centigrade scale. The Fahrenheit scale is named after Daniel Gabriel Fahrenheit and it is denoted using this symbol. It is used in fewer countries such as the United States, the Bahamas, Palau, and Micronesia. The boiling temperature of water is 112 degrees Fahrenheit while the freezing point is 32 degrees. There are 180 subdivisions between these two important points. The Kelvin scale is named after Lord Kelvin and denoted by the symbol K. It is predominantly used for scientific purposes and the SI unit for temperature is also Kelvin. The Kelvin scale is like the Celsius scale but shifted so that 0 is the lowest temperature. Unlike Celsius and Fahrenheit, Kelvin scale has no negative values. on the other hand, is the energy that is transferred from a body of higher temperature to another body of lower temperature. It is the amount of thermal energy that is absorbed or given off by a body. How is the concept of temperature and heat related to one another? Temperature indicates the direction of heat flow, while heat is the energy that is being transferred. Once transferred, it can no longer be called heat. It becomes the internal energy of the body. The transfer of energy from hot objects to cool objects stops when both attain the same temperature. The objects are said to be in thermal equilibrium. Adding heat to an object can raise its temperature or change its phase. It can also make an object expand. Releasing heat from an object can decrease its temperature or change its phase. It can also make an object contract. The transfer of energy from one body to another is called heat transfer. The rate of transfer is determined by the properties of the material and the differences in temperature. There are three ways to transfer energy in the form of heat. It is conduction, convection, and radiation. Temperature of an object is related to how fast the particles that make up an object are moving. The faster these particles are moving, the higher the temperature is. Heat transfer by conduction happens when two objects are in direct contact. The particles are bumping one another, transferring the energy from fast-moving particles to slower-moving particles. Heat transfer by convection happens in objects that can float. The fast-moving particles are carried to a new location where they can release the energy. Warmer fluids are less dense, therefore it floats. Cooler fluids are more dense, therefore it sinks. This creates a circular pattern known as convection current. Heat transfer by radiation happens if the energy is transferred in the form of electromagnetic waves. Objects with higher temperature can transfer energy to objects with lower temperature even if there's an empty space between the two. For the first activity, we need the following materials. We have 3 thermometers, 3 beakers, a sample of cold water, I made it yellow, and a sample of hot water, I made it red. Now, we will see what will happen if we mix these two. means that we will allow the transfer of heat from one water sample to another water sample. So, to check the initial temperatures, the initial temperature of this cold water is at 18 degrees Celsius, while the initial temperature of this hot water is at 58 degrees Celsius. And we will see what will be the resulting temperature. So, I'll pour this. And I will also. These two water samples are now in contact, so there will be a free exchange of energy in the form of heat. And let's see what will be the resulting temperature. The color is somewhat in the range of orange, which makes sense in terms of pigments, but we're more concerned about the temperature. And in the temperature here is 36 degrees Celsius, somewhat midway between the cold and the hot. So as you can see, the cold object gains some energy in the form of heat. That's why the temperature rose to 36, while the hot water lost some of its energy. That's why it went down to again 36. In this second setup, I need two spoons. With one is made up of plastic, the other one is made up of metal. Then I place some butter inside the spoons, and I will place both ends of these spoons in this beaker of hot water. I would like to know which one is better at conducting heat. From this setup, we can say that the metal spoon is better at conducting heat. For the third activity, we have two Erlenmeyer flasks, both filled with water. The first one is filled with cold water, and I made it yellow. The second one is filled with hot water, and I made it red. Now, for this activity, I will mix these two together and see how is the direction of water flows. Okay, so first I will be covering it so that I can put it upside down. It's kind of messy. Then I will put it with the hot water and see what will happen. So you can see the red water rises up while the yellow sinks. For the fourth setup, we need two thermometers, a piece of black paper and a piece of white paper. We will fold both papers so that it can cover the bulb of the thermometer. We will place both thermometers under the sun and see which one will get more radiation. The thermometer inside the white envelope has 40 degrees Celsius, while this one, the one that is inside the black thermometer, is at 46 degrees Celsius.
Identify the method of heat transfer, conduction, convection, and/or radiation that takes place in each of the situation. Walking on hot sand. The correct answer is conduction. Your feet and sand are in direct contact. Hot air balloon rising. The correct answer is convection. The air inside the balloon is heated, making it less dense than the surrounding air. Hence, the warm air rises together with the balloon. Burning your tongue with a soup. The correct answer is conduction. Your tongue and soup are in direct contact. Cooking food in a microwave. The correct answer is radiation. Microwave is an electromagnetic wave that makes the water molecules in food vibrate. Hence, it becomes warmer. Roasting chicken over fire. The correct answer is convection. Chicken is placed over fire, making it exposed to the rising warm air. Sunbathing. The correct answer is radiation. Our skin is exposed to various electromagnetic waves from the sun, mostly visible light and ultraviolet, making us warmer and tanner. Boiling water. The correct answer is conduction and convection. The water at the bottom of the pot is in direct contact with the heated pot, making it warmer. In the process, warmer water rises and less warm water sinks. Cooking eggs in a pan. The correct answer is conduction. The eggs and the heated pan are in direct contact.
To know how much you have learned from the lesson, answer the following questions by typing in your answer in the chat box together with your name, grade and section, and the name of your science teacher. Which of the following statement is not true when a hot object is made in contact with a cold object? A. The cold object will absorb heat from the hot object. B. These two objects will reach thermal equilibrium after some time. C. The heat transfer between these two objects will never stop. D. Eventually, these two objects will reach the same temperature.
The correct answer is letter C. The heat transfer between these two objects will never stop.
What do you call the movement of heat from one substance to another? A. Heat transfer. B. Heat energy. C. Heat wave. D. Specific heat.
The correct answer is A. Heat transfer.
Which of the following statement is not true about temperature and heat? A. Temperature is related to how fast the particles are moving, while heat is a form of energy. B. Both temperature and heat are related to thermal energy. C. Temperature indicates the direction of heat, while heat is the actual energy that is transferred. D. Temperature is the energy in transit, while heat is the average translational kinetic energy.
The correct answer is letter D. Temperature is the energy in transit, while heat is the average translational kinetic energy.
Which method of heat transfer happens when campfire transfer heat to the surroundings? A. Conduction and convection. B. Convection and radiation. C. Radiation and conduction. D. None of these.
The correct answer is B. Convection and radiation.
Heat transfers from object of blank temperature to object of blank temperature. A. Higher, higher. B. Higher, lower. C. Lower, higher. D. Lower, lower.
The correct answer is C. Higher, lower. Did you know that conduction, convection, and radiation are considered in designing buildings? Reflective walls reflect excess light from the sun, eliminating extra heating from radiation. However, these walls also allow some sunlight to pass through to save energy in illuminating the insides of the building. The materials are chosen so that it will not easily conduct heat, making the temperature inside efficiently managed. Forced convection is done with the use of pumps or fans to heat or cool the building efficiently. There are also designs that facilitate the movement of air through convection. Junior scientists, for this week's hashtag, Let's Beat the Heat. Type the hashtag in the chat box together with your name, grade, section, and the name of your science teacher. Hashtag, Let's Beat the Heat.
For performance task number 3, you have to make a reflection by answering the following questions. Number 1, what are the 3 most important concepts that you have learned from this module? Number 2, what are the activities that you find difficult in this module? Number 3, what are the daily life experiences at home where you encounter conduction, convection, and radiation?